Destiny's 10-year anniversary is just a few days away, and you might have wondered, will a Destiny 1 remaster ever be made? Now, I will say this is very unlikely given Bungie has spent the last 6 years porting over Destiny 1 into Destiny 2, but let's talk about 5 things a Destiny remastered would need. Number 1. Grimoire and stats. This is the biggest and most obvious one since it's something that players had asked for throughout the entirety of the first game's lifespan. A kiosk or something in the menu to access the Grimoire cards would be enough. Nothing revolutionary needs to be done here, as all assets already exist and the API is still functional to this day. What I mean by this is you had to make progress to unlock certain cards, and there are other things like PvP stats and KD ratio. There are still websites that have the Grimoire in a similar fashion to how they used to be on the Destiny companion app before it got converted into the Destiny 2 companion app. Some apps are not available anymore, but they function pretty much identically, and upon logging in it would only show you Grimoire cards that you've unlocked, like the good old days. As for stats, there are websites that still track these. All you have to do is type in your gamertag, and you can see Grimoire progress, your completed activities and all relevant info, along with other websites having your Crucible KD and whatnot. Basically, just porting over the original Destiny companion app into the remastered version is needed, and I'm sure there are numerous websites and even old files and code at Bungie that would make this possible. Continuing with kiosks, here's the second thing. Number 2. Armor and weapon kiosks. This would be one thing taking a major quality of life improvement out of Destiny 2, and that's having all the items available or at least visible in a kiosk. This would include things from common weapons and starting gear to blues or legendaries or even forgotten items like the Year 1 legendaries. It's clear that Bungie can track specific items like exotics, emblems, shaders, etc., since kiosks work for those, and I assume they might be able to track all previous weapons and armors you've collected in the game. However, it's possible that this isn't the case, in which case I'd say just straight up giving the items to players is fine, apart from exclusives. For example, anyone can claim random Rise of Iron legendaries like the Vanguard or Crucible gear, but more exclusive items like Iron Banner, Trials, and Raid gear would be locked, and could be attainable through the kiosk by having completed the activity or a specific requirement. Essentially you go, has this guy completed King's Fall at least 20 times? Yep, okay, he can get all the raid gear, or something along those lines, and it could vary per activity. At the bare minimum, at least being able to see or access all these items would be awesome. Number 3. Character transfer and a 4th character slot. I think this one should be obvious. Numerous players would want to use the Guardians they've spent hundreds or even thousands of hours on, so being able to import your character with all their stats, gear, and whatnot would be a very important thing. The other thing attached is a big ask, and that's the 4th character slot. This would be amazing as it would allow players to experience the remastered game from start to finish without having to delete a character or create a new account. However, I understand this would mean the average player is now taking up much more server space, which could be costly for Bungie. Number 4. Improvement, fixes, and reworks. I felt this one was important to mention. It is clear that the remastered version should be bumped up to 60 FPS, support something like 4K, and other common things when a game is remastered. That said, there are things that Bungie should be careful of. For example, Destiny 1 has a very different art than Destiny 2. Destiny 2 undoubtedly has better graphical fidelity, but Destiny 1 undoubtedly has a better art direction. There are more particle systems, VFX, the lighting is also more deliberate between its lights and darks, enemy designs, their colors and shapes, and a bunch of other things that would require an entire video comparing the two. For these reasons, it would be much better to keep the Destiny 1 assets, sounds, and art, and simply upscale the resolution since the graphics still hold up very well to this day. So Bungie going in and trying to upgrade the art or other things is not required or recommended. Other things of note are minor fixes and reworks. Destiny was left in a really good place by the end of its 3-year life cycle, but some changes still need to be done, mainly in PvP, like nerfs to fusion grenades, capping their damage at like 125, opposed to the one-shot aimbot tracking that they are right now, spawning in with at least a mag of special ammo in PvP to prevent the current infective Icebreaker No Land Beyond sidearm meta, removal of skill-based matchmaking in most casual game modes like 6v6, since skill-based matchmaking was disliked by the majority of the community back in the day, and Bungie just never decided to remove it for whatever reason. And other things here and there. Again, nothing too major though. And our 5th and final requirement. Support for a year. supporting the game for at least a year. Now, what does this mean? It's simple, and it means adding events like there used to be. Festival of the Lost in October, Sparrow Racing and the Dawning in December, Crimson Doubles in February. No new items need to be added for these events, just simply getting them to return with specific event exclusive items like the Ascendant Raisins for that coveted Hangman shader is more than enough. These could also be put on a yearly cycle if possible. The other events are of course Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris. These two require a much more active player base, so I think they should only be brought back for a limited time and then go away. With that said, since they're only back for a limited time, I think some exclusives should probably be added. For Iron Banner there isn't really a need, but for Trials perhaps a new Flawless emblem could be added, a shader for those who participate, and whatnot. The previous Flawless rewards like ornaments and the Adept versions could return for those that go Flawless, and the standard gear for those that don't. Previous Flawless emblems should probably remain exclusive. I believe the two 9-0 farm emblems were added to the weekly Crucible bounty loot pool. I don't think any of the Flawless emblems were added though. I could be wrong, but I'm basically just trying to say keep the rare stuff that people had to earn rare, but add 1 or 2 new rare items for people to chase after. It's crazy to think that Destiny is now 10 years old. Let me know what you think a remastered would need. Like and subscribe. I've got more Destiny content coming soon. Until next time.